As a first mentor, can you tell us more about your job?
Sure. There's a lot. So I started with Beast Robotics 10 years ago. So it's been a while, and over the years I've kind of accumulated different things that I do. I started as just helping out to build their website. My brother and my dad started the team in 2007, and I was in college at that point. When I graduated from college, it was during the Great Recession, which was super fun. 2010. In 2011, I was working, but I needed to build my work portfolio. I was doing digital consulting. So I started working on the team's website because after they'd been around for 5 years, their website still said under construction on the front page. So I started working with them for that. And it grew over time as the team kind of grew, and we opened up to Central, and we started FFL and FTC teams. So I work with the team doing any of our outreach in business and awards. So chairman's, entrepreneurship, those are the two pretty big ones for the business team, similar to Inspire in the FTC realm. We run our summer STEM camp. We do all of our community outreach, like our FLO event in the fall for the teams to practice. We call it a scrimmage, but it's really just a big practice. And I also do the administrative side of the team. So any permission slip that you have to sign, any field trip form you have to fill out, booking our hotel when we go to a travel regional, all of that stuff.
Okay. What motivated you to enter robotics teams?
I needed something to do. That's kind of how we all get pulled into it, I think. We're like, oh, this sounds like fun, and then you know somebody who's doing it, like my dad was doing it. I have two younger brothers. One started the team, and then the younger one, who graduated in 2014, was coming up through the team. He was in middle school at the time. I'm like, oh, this would be fun to do this with them. And then on a more serious note, we lost my brother. He died by suicide in 2012. So then it kind of turned into a family legacy. Like, do this in his memory and kind of keep it alive because it was something that he loved. And we feel strongly that it's something that he felt in high school was a place for him to belong. And we've had a lot of students over the years who have come up and told us along those lines that like this was the best part of high school for them. This was where they felt like they had a place where they made friends, where they felt like they were part of a team. So I love seeing kids go on and studying engineering and doing STEM-related things, but I also love seeing them find a place while they're in high school and make friends and have fun. And that's why we all keep coming back to do it. It's fun.
In your experience, what has STEM been like for girls?
Tough. As I'm sure you know, especially as women of color, that it's difficult. It won't be any less difficult for the next few years. But it's getting better. I think FIRST does a great job of pushing diversity in the sense of like racial diversity and socioeconomic privilege diversity. So helping teams in inner cities or places like Milwaukee. But for women specifically, I think it's taken generations to earn privileges or rights, like voting. We can go back not that far, 4 generations. We couldn't own property, we couldn't own land. And now we're supposed to have caught up with men who had a few hundred-year head start. So I think it's difficult. I think it's also, we're socialized to believe that women who are assertive or intelligent are being bossy. And that's something that you have to be able to rise above, unfortunately. I definitely face that challenge within FIRST and within what I do for work. I work in technology. I work as a product analyst for software companies. So I tell the developers what to do. They don't know what code to write until I tell them, I want the site to do this. Like, make it do this. And then they come back and ask me 50 million questions. So primarily I work with a bunch of men because software developers are largely still men, at least at the level of the industry that I'm at. I'm seeing more and more women come in, but they're younger. But it can be really tough to communicate with them, to get them to respect you, to get them to listen, to get them to believe what you're saying without having to go and get the validation of another man to say, yeah, she understands the problem. This really is what we should be doing to solve it. But thankfully, you find companies or you find people within companies who can help you kind of champion yourself or women in any kind of position of power or management or director or whatever. Within FIRST, it took a long time for me. When I started mentoring, I was only 24, so I was right out of college. And I looked pretty close in age to a lot of like the seniors on the team. So people would come up to the pit and they would start asking me questions like I was on the team. Like what's your guys' strategy for out in the field? And I'm like, I don't know, ask the drive team, I'm a mentor. Yeah, and that was tough at first. I felt like that was another dig at like not being taken seriously as a young woman. So it took some time.
Do you have any advice for us and other teams?
I mean, for an all-girls team, I think the advice is different than it is for other teams to an extent. I think you'll encounter a lot of people in competitions who look at your team and think this is a ploy for diversity. They're trying to, win or be recognized and be different because they're all girls. I've seen that reaction myself to all-girls FRC teams over the years. Thankfully, more in the past, like 10 years ago versus now. I think you have to